Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here on 90s Watch for a look at your forecast, which is finally including a bit of sunshine that is finally moving its way back into the picture. We're just about to climb over the freezing mark, so that should help with the melt from yesterday's nasty freezing drizzle. That's, of course, turned sidewalks into skating rinks and side streets into skating rinks. And I can tell you firsthand, my own street this morning as I was getting up to come into the office here, it was completely frozen over, and I know plenty of you have that same story as well. I heard a lot of stories of some of you slipping out there. Hopefully that'll be solved here by good old Mother Nature with that bright blue sunshine overhead here in Denver. Again, temperatures already rising up to around 30 degrees at DIA, 31 downtown. Some parts of the metro area already above freezing. Again, that will very, very quickly melt off some of that ice that I'm sure plenty of us, nobody will be exactly too sad to be saying bye-bye to that ice that we dealt with throughout much of the day yesterday. Now, temperatures should rise on up into the low 40s. I think we'll crack the 40-degree mark, which is certainly some good news. The sunshine already making its grand return, but don't get used to it. It's not going to last all that much longer as those temperatures will start to back down a little bit tomorrow, but more importantly, the sunshine will disappear behind some cloud cover. That'll move its way on into the picture overnight tonight and early on your Friday morning. Now tonight, there's those increasing clouds. Lows drop down to the upper teens. That is very seasonable for this time of year. Our average high for today, 45. Average low, 18. So talking about a low of 19. Might feel a little chilly compared to our extremely, and I mean extremely, tame winter so far. But a low temperature dropping down to 19 degrees for the overnight time frame. Again, that is where we would expect to be this time of year here in the dog days of January, although nobody calls them that. All right, forecast we head over the next few hours and into your Friday morning. We'll see some cloud cover filter its way on into the picture, and then we'll see some snow develop here across the metro area. In fact, I'll kind of go back to this here for a quick second so you can get a better look at it. Snow will probably develop somewhere around noon, maybe a tick before, sometime late morning. You'll see some of that snow start to develop across the metro area. That'll move from northeast to southwest, but the snow will be very, very heavily concentrated into the Palmer Divide and the western foothills. And the reason why is we're just going to get these sharp northeasterly winds. This is going to be a similar event to what we saw last Friday. If you remember when, say, Golden and Evergreen, and there was that kind of narrow band that set up shop over the west side of the metro area, and that put down, in some cases, 6 inches plus worth of snowfall, while downtown Denver saw nothing. This is going to be that kind of similar setup here, a very localized band of heavy snow. I think Denver may end up with a dusting or so. East of I-25, probably nothing. Maybe a little dusting in a few spots east of I-25. You head just west of town, and that's where you're going to really kind of ramp up those accumulations. You get into Wheat Ridge, Arvada, certainly up by Golden. You'll be talking about an inch or two before this clears on out by your Saturday morning. But it is a quick hitter, so not too much in the way of accumulation for most of us, but we'll see some on the west and south side of the metro area. Broadview, the mountains get in on a little bit of this snow as well. Steamboat Springs, the parks, the Elkheads, the Gores get in on some of the snowfall. Same with the Flat Tops and on south into the West Elks. The Mosquitoes, the Gores, all will see some of that snowfall. Then, again, it'll quickly clear on out of here by tomorrow morning. So snowfall amounts, let's take a closer look in at these. Downtown Denver, 0.3 of an inch of snowfall. I think that may be even a bit on the aggressive side. It's going to be above freezing throughout much of the day tomorrow. That'll probably melt a good chunk of that snowfall. I do think that in Denver and along and east of I-25, once again, we'll have very limited, if basically virtually no travel impacts, at least during the day part hours tomorrow. Once again, if you're heading up tomorrow night, for those of you that might be taking I-70 up, good luck, by the way, tomorrow night. And same with 285, you're heading west into the mountains. That's where you're going to start to deal some of that snowfall, really kind of accumulating in a meaningful fashion on the roadway. So again, if you have the option, maybe you got a nice boss or you got the option to go work remote in the mountains tomorrow, try and get out of here a little bit early because again, once we get to about 4, 5, 6 o'clock, that ski traffic looks pretty rough tomorrow and tomorrow night up both 285 and I-70, as that's going to be the area that's favored. So again, we're talking about Lookout Mountain on south to Conifer Bailey, and again, you even just get on up into Idledale and just outside of town, you're going to start to see that snow pile on up pretty quickly here as soon as you get west and south of Denver. So a quick look at that forecast for tomorrow. High 41 degrees. That'll, again, make it hard for that snow to stick here in town. Again, along the east side 25, I think we're going to basically see nothing in terms of that snowfall. But you get just west and south of the city, and that's where you start seeing some of that accumulation. We'll certainly see some flakes flying through the skies here, and maybe a dusting on some of those colder car tops in Denver. High 41 for your day tomorrow. Sunrise 7:16 a.m. That's sunrise time getting earlier and earlier now as we start getting. We're now actually a full month past the winter solstice, so now starting to see that those day part hours meaningfully getting longer and longer. So a little bit of good news passed along there. Meantime, snow develops late morning to around noon, somewhere in there. And again, Denver, we'll see flakes flying. There's no doubt about that. The accumulation, again, will be confined to the south and west side of town. Temperatures drop off as we head through the day. And by nighttime tomorrow, one thing to watch for is that in Denver, we'll probably see a lot of kind of wet roadways, but those could freeze back over tomorrow night. So watch out on the roads kind of more tomorrow night, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Once those wet roadways, those could very easily just kind of turn into some of that black ice tomorrow night. So I know we just dealt with the ice. We're getting rid of it as we speak. But tomorrow night we could be seeing a little bit more in the way of some of those unintentional skating rinks around town. By Saturday morning, the sun comes back out, and it's a pretty nice weekend. 52 for us on your Sunday, and then that snow works its way back into the picture Monday night and into your Tuesday morning. That one could have a bit more juice to it, but wouldn't exactly hold your breath for that Monday night, Tuesday morning storm system. Some of the computer models are trying to make this a bit more interesting, but again, I don't know. This is one of those systems. It's also the time of year here, folks. Maybe a little overlooked, but January is not a big snow month for Denver and the Front Range proper. It's a big snow month for the mountains, but not so much for us here down into the metro area. And just reason being, we're in a very typical January pattern right now where we get these kind of quick-hitting little systems that may produce an inch or two. That is very typical for this time of year. But when we're talking about big snowstorms, you know, we think about March, we think about April, and we actually kind of tend to think about those in October, November as well. More shoulder season. And by the way, February in recent years has kind of been a fairly hefty snow month for us here in Denver as well, especially the back half of the month. But January does not tend to be a big snow month. Bit of a myth, and especially if you're coming, I personally am from originally the East Coast, and you tend to think about January as being a big snow month. I think in most of the country, or most of the country that experiences snowfall, here in Denver, it is not so much in the way of a big snow month, just because the jet stream is usually parked overhead. That means we get these quick-hitting little systems. Occasionally, you can get a little snow band from that jet stream that produces a few more inches of snowfall. But again, this is not a primo time of year for big snows. It tends to be more March and April, of course, around here. So hopefully it's given you a bit of overview. Hopefully you have a great Friday and a great weekend, and stay safe out there tomorrow. And again, perhaps the one big tip I would leave you with in terms of that snow event tomorrow, if you're heading up to the mountains, get up early, because it does look like that ski traffic is going to be pretty rough tomorrow night up there by the well, not the Eisenhower Tunnel, getting up into the foothills and getting out of town on both 285 and I-70. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Watch. Meteorologist Danielle Grant has a look at your forecast at 9 News at noon, and Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin is in at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10 on the 9 News family of networks. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.